Hey everyone! To get started on our next project, you will need the following supplies if you have them. But remember, you can always change the supplies to whatever supplies you have available at home. That's completely okay. But you'll need a white paper and crayons. And if you have it, you will need a watercolor palette. Now, just a basic water palette will do. Okay, and we're going to start off with our crayons. So what we're going to be doing is making a background today, and on top of our background next week we are going to build a 3D tree using some paper quilling techniques, and we will talk about that next cycle. But today you're just going to create the background. So what you're going to do is you're going to create your ground, just a wiggly line. And now, if you don't have watercolors at home, you can certainly just color your whole background. That's totally okay, guys. Now, I'm just going to color a little bit of green in here. And the reason I'm only coloring a little bit is because I'm going to be painting some of it too. So, when you paint on top of crayon, your paint will not stick to the crayon because the crayon is made of wax. So it does what's called a crayon resist. And remember, if you don't have your crayons, if you don't have your watercolors, just go ahead and color everything. It's totally okay to do all of this with your crayons. I'm gonna put the sun up here, and you can definitely place your sun somewhere else. You guys know that. You are the artist, so you get to make your own creative decisions. I never expect yours to be exactly like mine. I'm just here to guide you guys, teach you new techniques, and show you how to get rolling. Just shaded my sun with a little bit of orange there. And I'm gonna place a little bit, just a little bit of yellow around the sun. So when I paint my sky, it kind of glows. All right, my friends, what we're gonna do now is we are gonna put some wind in our sky. So I'm gonna take a few different blues I have, and I'm gonna take a white. And I'm just gonna literally make swirls that end with a spiral. Think of like a snail shell. Oh, I just broke a crayon. Story of my life, guys. Literally press too hard all the time with crayons. All right, friends. I'm adding some white. I know you can't see it, but you will in a little bit. It's just temporarily invisible. I'm going to swap out for this teal blue. It's pretty. And let's put a few lines. So we've got a windy day. All right, friends, what we're going to do now is paint. Now, if you don't have paint, this is the part where you will just keep coloring. Maybe you make your wind and then you just color a light blue on top for your sky. Remember though, if you're coloring, guys, your sky goes from the top to the ground. You don't want to always just stop your sky up here, okay? The sky is from the top to the ground. But if you are painting, this is where you're going to take your paint and you are just literally going to go on top . And you can see that you can definitely still see all of your green crayon that you've colored with, especially that lime green color I used. And if you want to mix colors because you want your grass to be lighter, take a little bit of that yellow and you could just put that right on top of your green. So you're just layering those colors. You could also mix it in your palette, but I'm just so used to telling my students not to mix in the palette because then honestly guys, I have to wash all of the palettes. And so I tell my kids to mix on paper. You can see that just by placing the green and then that yellow and a little more green on top, we've got that lime green color coming through. And we could do the same thing with the bottom here, but we can make it darker by adding a little bit of blue. So if you want your grass to look darker in spots, add some blue on top. And again, go back with that green, pop a little more green on there. And if you want to add some brown, because we are headed into fall and like all of our grass is dying, or not as like green and nice as it was during our summer. Although our summer was pretty dry, I don't know. Our grass looked pretty brown all summer too. All right, and then we're gonna do our sky. And I'm just gonna take some blue and I'm gonna mix some purple too. Now you'll see that as you go, any of the white that you used will start to show up, guys, because of that wax. So even though you couldn't see your white initially, you will be able to see it now. And I'm just painting and leaving some spots for purple. And now I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna grab some purple. And when you put your color down, if it looks too dark at first, like you just pressed a little too hard, grab some more water and spread it out. It'll help dilute it, which means it'll just lighten it up. Sometimes with watercolor, your best friend is literally the water, more than it even is the paint, because your water really helps you to control it. All right, and I'm just gonna go back and beef up that blue a little in spots and overlap my purple a little so it just blends a little better. There we go. We're getting there. And once you're done, you're just gonna let this dry. And then next cycle of art, we will talk about how to create your 3D tree. All right, guys, have fun.